This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, look out, we're being recorded. Hare Krishna. All right, let's begin. Any final question? Okay, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And we always begin by offering our deepest respects to Srila Prabhupada. He's the one who has given us Bhagavad Gita. He's the one, well, Krishna gave us Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is the one who translated it, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Sadharine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we're beginning on chapter 3, text 26. You can see it on the screen there. And just a quick remembrance of where we left off last week. Krishna is speaking about the importance of doing one's duty, especially for Arjuna, to actually set the right example. Yeah, so then Krishna gives King Janak as an example of someone who attained perfection by engaging in his prescribed duty. And then Krishna gave himself as an example. Now, he is one who's definitely not bound to this world at all. He has no reason to act within this world, but still he acts to set the right example. Then this well-known verse, yat achajhu shashtat te tat avatat jano saya pananu kurute locus tat unovatate. Whatever action a great man performs, whatever action a great man performs, and whatever standards he does by exemplary acts, then the whole world follows. So, and then we're just reading on from there. Okay, so a quick reference of where we are. So, without further ado, let's now hear some from Bhagavad Gita. So we're called on Mother Lavangalatika. You could read text 326. Yeah, and we're reading the Sanskrit verse as well. And if you're really don't want to read the Sanskrit, that's all right. Don't worry, it's not a problem. But
26, Guru?
Yeah.
26. Okay, thank you.
326.
Nabudhi Vedam Janayed Agyanam Karma Sanginam Yosayet Sarvakarmani Vidvan Yukta Samacharan. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruit of results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Vedas cha sarver ahameva vidya. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals, all performances of sacrifices, and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all direction for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned souls do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. But through fruitive activities and sense gratification, regulated by Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna. The learned Krishna conscious person may act in such a way that the ignorant person working for sense gratification may learn how to act and how to behave. Although the ignorant man is not to be disturbed in his activities, a slightly developed Krishna conscious person may directly be engaged in the service of the Lord without waiting for other Vedic formulas. But for this fortunate man, there is no need to follow the Vedic rituals, because by direct Krishna consciousness, one can have all the results one would otherwise derive from following one's prescribed duties.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother Lavangalatika. Okay, any specific questions or reflections on this? There's something I can bring up, but any burning questions that come? I was thinking specifically in regards to when we're preaching Krishna consciousness. When this verse is kind of quite significant, actually, because there may be some instances where who you may be inspired to share Krishna consciousness with might not be ready to take up the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness. So at least that's what we experience here a lot of times, especially in the West. When persons come to the temple, they have many, many different attachments. And if we tell them all the do's and don'ts, then they might be a little bit, how can I say, a little bit apprehensive. So as what's said here, we engage them in acts of devotion. Yeah, that's what Krishna is saying here, to not disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to fruitive results of prescribed duties. So instead, whatever they are doing, we see in some way how it can be linked in Krishna consciousness. And in that way, that activity of Krishna consciousness will purify them. As Krishna says here, rather by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so that's a great art of how much to tell someone, or how many rules and regulations you should, as we might say, lay on someone or give someone, especially when they first come into Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So this verse is often quoted in that regard. Sorry, I'm scrolling up and down here. Now, what we also do as well, there's a wonderful book by an senior devotee called Bodhijan Prabhu. Some of you may have heard of him. He's a Prabhupada disciple. And he's done a wonderful study of Bhagavad Gita. And he's wrote a book called Surrender Unto Me. And in that book, he amalgamates the Acharya's commentaries on these verses. So we also read for that for extra interest. But any comments or questions on this before we might read that? Anything unclear? Okay, let me read here.
Prabhu, I just wanted to confirm my understanding. Just wanted to ask, is this verse is talking about really about dovetailing and like you preach but you practice to yourself? Can we take that way?
Just explain again, you lost me there. You mentioned dovetailing, which I followed, but then you mentioned preaching.
At the point, what I thought is you, although you are going to preach, but you practice, but looking at you, the person will follow.
Okay, yeah, very much. Yeah. Example is often better than precept.
Yeah, your prashad, that is our saying.
Yeah, there's an interesting statement in that regard of Francis of Assisi.
Yeah.
You know, perhaps I've mentioned it more than once, but I'll mention it again. He said you should preach, 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 and every now and again say a few words. You understand the principle there? So you preach by example. So that's one way. Especially to, I think this comes up quite often in our discussions, especially to family members. They're the last ones you're going to try and convert or preach to. Sometimes, yes, but so by example, we can inspire them in our improved character, you know, by practicing Krishna consciousness. Hopefully, the idea is that we prove in our character, you know, and they become very much impressed, you know, like that. Yes. Now, here's a little commentary from Bodhijan. Let's see how large it is. I might not read the whole thing, or it's quite large. Let's read some of it. Okay. He says here, he quotes, "We may preach to an attached materialist." And he says, "It's no use working for Maya. You can't take your gains with you when you die. What will you eternally gain by such work?" Obviously, that is true, but Krishna herein recommends an additional strategy, encouraging those who are attached to use their work and its fruits for devotional service. Krishna again says that premature renunciation without spiritual realization leads to degradation. And that we covered, isn't it? We read last week. One becomes a Mittacharya, yeah, a false renunciate. This verse describes how those with knowledge should relate to those without knowledge. A person with knowledge should, by his example and words, encourage those who are attached to the results of their work to engage them in Krishna's service. This is practical. The third line, Joshrayat Sakama-karma, indicates that we should first work ourselves and then, as said in the fourth line, engage others in devotional work. And further, he says, we have already discussed 3 levels of work, working only for the fruits. And I'm going to say what that is. What's the technical name for that? Working only for the fruits. That's the only thing on your mind, is what's going to come back to me. And then you follow the Vedas in order to get that. It's called karma kanda. Yeah. Normally it means they have hopes or dreams of going to the heavenly planets, maybe. And then the next stage is Krishna becomes the goal, but one's still attached to the things in this world. So they've still got some attachments, but somehow or another, they become attached to Krishna. So that's called Sakama-karma yoga. So that means karma, or yoga means devotional service. In Bhagavad Gita, yoga means devotional service. Karma means your specific conditioning, your specific, yourself, if you want. Karma, like Arjuna, for instance, if you want to call it karma, he is a Kshatriya. Yeah. So karma, your specific inclination, and then Sakam means you're still mixed up with some desires there for things in this world. So that's called, and you've heard this before, Sakama-karma yoga. Yeah. And what's the name for working without attachment?
Your devotional service.
Niskama-karma.
Niskama-karma, yeah. That was Mother Shauda. She studied back to Sastri. Yeah. So Niskama-karma yoga, it means you're not attached. So why are you working? Then you're just doing your duty, as Krishna is encouraging. But you're not attached. You're just doing your duty. Things may go well, great. Things may go bad. What to do? I am doing my duty. Yeah. I'll just read the last of this paragraph. Okay. In the second form of work, though the mode of passion is still present, so the second form is Sakama-karma yoga. So still one has plans in this material world. Yeah. Passion is still present. One advances from passion by goodness. Okay, I'll ask another question. How does one move from Sakama-karma yoga to a Niskama-karma yoga? What's the practical thing to prove that one is practicing Niskama-karma yoga? They're not attached. Sorry to put you on the spot. Yeah.
Their desires are purified.
Yeah, but there's something that they do to
They are
prove
not
attached.
activities.
Right? Madhumangal?
They are attached to the fruitive.
Disturbed?
I didn't hear Madhumangal. Say again.
They are not attached to the fruitive activity.
But how does that manifest?
Without undisturbed.
Undisturbed, yeah. Steadiness.
Yeah, they're not disturbed. There's something else I'm looking for.
Steadiness.
Steadiness.
Devotional service.
Devotional service.
They are absorbed all the time in devotional service in Krishna Katha.
Yeah, but actually, okay. Anyone else? Okay, when I say it, you'll go, oh yeah. Okay. What it is, one gives the results of their work. Yeah. They give the results of their work. So that means they're not attached. They're working very hard at work. They get money, but then they give some of that money away. Okay, they don't give everything away. You have to pay the bills. but they sacrifice some aspect of their earnings or whatever it may be, their time. So they renounce a portion of the results of their work. So that's Niskama-karma yoga. Someone who's attached, they're not going to renounce anything.
Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question.
Please, Nitai Mata.
Yeah, I was thinking, even before Nishkarma, somebody will be giving money. Even if they are attached, still they will be giving. It's at a ritual. Because I know mostly like our background, we think, oh no, we have to give some. It's
Yeah, so
like culture.
yeah, that's correct. So like, that's a step in the right direction. It's a something, but it's normally based on ritual, but still that will set them in good stead. Yeah. So
Yeah,
thank you for bringing that out. Yeah. So this path from Sakam to Nishkam can sometimes take many lives. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing it out, Nitai Mata. Yeah. Okay, I just finished reading. A person working in this way will gradually become detached. Attain. So from that, one is, because if you give to Krishna, that means you have faith that Krishna is going to maintain you. Yeah. So Krishna will then give you knowledge of himself. So that's called transcendental knowledge. And that way one advances towards the transcendental platform. Okay, I've been tempted to read a bit more here.
Can I ask something, Prabhu?
Please,
Sorry.
Mother Mongol, yes, please.
If you arrive if you go to the heavenly planets, can you there perform devotional service and go to Goloka Vrindavan, or you must come back to planet Earth?
Well, if you happen to meet and take and hear from a devotee, then even in the heavenly planets, you can make a determination to obtain Krishna. You can do that from any place in the material world, but it's a little bit more difficult in the heavenly planets. Why is that? There's so much material. Yeah, there's so much distraction. So it can be done, but because there's so much distraction.
What be there? Sorry for interrupt. What distraction? What kind of distractions can be there?
Distraction or distraction. Yeah.
Distraction.
Well, everything's so wonderful. You know, there isn't any disease. There's no such thing as cancer. There's no such thing as war.
But remember and know that actually that's not the last destination.
Yeah. Well, although having said that, the heavenly planets are part of the material world, which means sometimes we read that the heavenly planets sometimes get ransacked by the detached. Yeah, it's there in Bhagavatam. And often in the heavenly planets, some of the demigods curse each other. Yeah, we hear that as well, isn't it? Stories of persons in the heavens who've been cursed, then they take birth in the material world. So it's still subject to the trials and tribulations, but not to the same, not to the same intense degree here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Two men may be doing similar work, but each may be working with a different consciousness. Superficially, it may appear that their work is the same, but a Sakam worker is attached to the fruits of his work and to the specific nature of the work he does. The Niskam worker is detached from the fruits of his work, but remains attached to the work itself. Okay. Attached to the work itself. The quality of the work is measured by their attachments. The highest stage of work occurs when one is detached from the fruits of work and from the work itself. He continues to work, but his impetus is simply devotional surrender to the order of Guru and Krishna. So Krishna next describes the thinking of the ignorant attached person. That's in the next verse. Okay. So any further reflections on that?
So, Prabhu, I did have a reflection, and
Please, yeah.
how can you be more effective when you're detached from the work? Is it possible for you to be as efficient in your work with these two different kinds of personality, one being attached and one being detached? Are you still be able to perform your work in the same intensity or rigor, or is there any difference there?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Often devotees make a mistake, say they have a work in a professional field, and they become attracted to Krishna consciousness, and they read about, the temporary nature of the material world, etc., etc., and they may lose their impetus or their oomph or their enthusiasm, which they might have had for their work. Yeah. But that's actually a mistake. Actually, one should see that work as being given by Krishna. And one should do that work according to the best of his ability, knowing that Krishna has given me this. And I'm going to give the fruits of this work to Krishna. Just like Arjuna, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, he becomes very, very enthusiastic in his work. He becomes fired up. It is a verse at the end. Now all my illusions have gone. So that's actually Krishna consciousness, is where you can spiritualize your work because you're offering it to Krishna. Did that help? Any further questions? You're muted, Amar.
Oh, sorry, Prabhu. That answers it. But I'm still sort of the core of the question is: can you still be detached from what the results and perform the duty in the same? I mean, in terms of let's say in your performance of the work, right?
Yeah.
Would you be able to achieve the same results when you're detached from it, from the results which you expect from it?
That's a good point. Perhaps we'll offer that. Yeah, sometimes we do this as well. We offer the question out. Everyone's clear on the question from Amar?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Can you hear me? And I was thinking, because, I mean, if you're doing it as a matter of duty, without attachment, then, I mean, everything we do for Krishna should be super excellent. We should have like an attitude, do our best, interact with people in the best way and everything like that. So if we're in a job and it's for Krishna, then you have to do it in the best way possible. And if you get results from that, it's not actually our result, it's Krishna's result.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I made that clear. No. It's like
I think that's interesting.
It's like whatever you do it well. I mean, the result may or may not come. I mean, we may have another, a bomb could drop any time or something like that, and there might be an earthquake or something. You might not ever get that result anyway. So why be attached to it? Anything could happen between now and next year if you have like a year plan or something, and the result may not ever come. So what's the point in being attached to it? It only might make you frustrated, or you might miss other opportunities along the way. Krishna might give you better opportunities, but if you're attached to results, then you will miss out on maybe other opportunities.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Can I just add on that, Amar? Just thinking that let's just say if you haven't come in contact with Krishna consciousness and you're working, you can work as hard as you want, but you might not get the result. That's just the way of the world. You can do a super project thing. You can be really attentive to every detail of the business transaction, but something down the line will go twisty, something would go wrong, and then you lose the whole thing. You know, and that's so better learn detachment.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, Prabhu, is you
Yeah,
have to be
please.
attached to work to perform it properly, right? Otherwise, you can't. You need to be passionate about what you're doing. You need to be
Yeah.
bought into the idea of what you're doing to perform properly. But what I'm hearing, and maybe I'm wrong, is that it's okay to be attached to the work you're doing, but you have to be detached from the results and not concentrate on the results. But you have to work with that attachment in terms of having to do that in the best way possible, whatever work that is.
Yeah, that's a wonderful summary. Thank you. That's a wonderful summary.
Can I say something, please? Hare
Please.
Krishna.
Who is this speaking?
This is Shweta.
Shweta. Hare Krishna, Mother Shweta. Welcome.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. What I've learned is that do everything for Krishna. Just think I'm doing everything for Krishna, then you will do your best. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what's that saying? Do your best and Krishna will do the rest.
To God.
No, do your best, but just think you're doing everything for Krishna. Just think.
Yeah, that's a good general mindset. That your work you used to do for yourself, now you're doing it for Krishna.
Think you're doing everything for Krishna, then you will not do anything wrong. Does that make sense?
But
Yes.
Yes.
Prabhu, I was just thinking, even for a common person to understand. I remember when I was a child, I was told all the time, do your best and leave the rest to God.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah.
I was taught
Yeah,
like that.
thank you.
I think before to become a devotee, sorry to jump in, before to become a devotee, we work for ourselves. But then after a while, when you meet devotees and you become Krishna, try to become Krishna conscious, then you realize that actually whatever you do, you will do for Krishna.
Yeah.
Whatever move you do, you'll need to look and think, this everything I do is for Krishna. So then everything will be perfect. And
Yeah.
everything all the results will go to Krishna. Whatever happens, good, bad, you do the best and it will be detached.
Yeah. So also just remember also is that you have to make sure you have to maintain your situation, okay? Which I'm sure I've understood that. You have to maintain it. You have to spend something on yourself, okay? I'm sure you have to have a house, you have to have a situation, but that house belongs to Krishna and the family belongs to Krishna. So that's part of your service to Krishna as well. All right?
But can I say something more?
Yeah,
Idea.
Mongo.
This moment we become very responsible for everything we do. The moment we realize Krishna consciousness and Krishna will become the most responsible, because every move we'll make, it will cost us and everyone else.
Very good. Yeah. Well, yeah, which set the right example. Yeah, I'm just should we
Hare Krishna.
please, yes.
Can
Who's
I jump in?
Yes, you
Katrina,
can.
Katrina. Yes.
Who's speaking?
I just wanted to.
Go on.
Katrina.
Katrina. Oh, okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I know
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Now, I just wanted to say I'm working as a cleaner, and I've been working as a cleaner the past 5 years. But
Wow.
it's like just this year, I am kind of realizing the importance of the regulative principles for me, and just slowly falling in love with them. And just, I think 2 weeks ago, the Jewish people, they had what is it called, Passover celebration.
Okay.
And I work mainly for the Jewish people. So it was like ridiculous amount of cleaning and time consuming and this and that. But when I think of it from that way, it's, oh my God, so tiring. I don't want to do it. But then again, I looked at it from the other side, because by me being there, helping them to clean, it's me helping them to kind of keep their religious principles set in Judaism. So that made me feel like very okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing something.
I didn't catch all what you're saying, but I think in essence you were saying that you wasn't feeling very inspired or a bit tired, but then you thought, let me assist, let me make this work in assisting others do their religious duty. And that made you feel a bit more enlivened. Yeah?
Yes, something like that.
Thank you,
because
Mother.
it's so demanding. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. One thing, yeah, it's wonderful. So many devotees for a wonderful discussion we're having. But let's move on to another verse. Huh? We'll move on to another verse. As we open it, as the group gets big, then we may churn the nectar on one verse just for each session. There's so much wonderful comments that we can have. Okay, let me. So, Mother Gaia, you like to read text 2327? Let's see what. Oh, this is a well-known verse as well.
Yes, I can.
Are you there?
Read this.
Oh, yes.
Is that the one on your screen? Yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
Okay. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Okay. Yeah. Can you scroll a bit? I'm looking at your screen.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Translation. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the modes of material nature. Purport. Two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptom of his nescience. He does not know and that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature, and under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. The ignorant man forgets.
Sorry, scrolled up.
Where was I?
The ignorant man
Thank you.
forgets.
The ignorant man forgets that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Hrishikesha, or the master of the senses of the material body. For due to his long misuse of the senses in sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So as we mentioned before, Krishna's he's explained the mindset of a person who's working in Krishna consciousness. Now, as Prabhupada explains in the purport, what's the mindset of a person who is not? Yeah. They think they are the creator. They think they are the doer of everything. This is called hankara. Yeah. I'm scrolling up and down again. But Hare Krishna. Any specific questions or comments here?
Can I say something? Sorry, I'm jumping in.
Hold on, jump in.
So the more we use our senses, the more we will become bewildered.
If we use our senses, if we use our senses in Krishna's service, then the more we become enlightened.
I know, but here, the more we use our senses, we will become bewildered.
Well, we have to use our senses, but we may use it. We should regulate what we do with the senses. This is the idea.
And
regulate what we do with the senses, and then we won't become bewildered. Yeah. And actually, at the end of this chapter, we're on text 27. Towards the end of the chapter, Arjuna asked a question: why does someone not act, even if someone intelligently knows what they should do? Why is it that they do the wrong thing? And they become, and they engage in, why is it that they do not follow the principles or the principles of sattvic living, even though they know? And without giving it away, we should wait till we get there. Then Krishna answers that question. Anything from here? Otherwise, I can read a little bit from a little commentary here.
Prabhu, I'm actually can you give us an example of what it means by being a doer of everything? So when Prabhu says, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that you are the doer, as in you control the results as well, or is that the doer as in the action which you're doing?
Well, as far as I understand, someone else might comment on this, but as far as I understand, it's the illusion that you are the creator of the fruits of your action, where actually everything's being arranged by the material energy, which in itself is controlled by Krishna. So if you're in illusion, thinking, for instance, someone may be at work and they've achieved something and they think, by my greatness, by my endeavor, look what I have done. No, it's by Krishna's grace, by Krishna's mercy, this has happened. But someone who's in illusion thinks that everything that they are the, as this verse says, let's just read the verse again. The bewildered spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the modes of material nature. So everything is going on under the jurisdiction of Krishna. So to not be in knowledge of that, then that's called false ego. That means one is bewildered.
Can I add something here, Murli Prabhu?
Yes, Sahachari Mother, yeah.
Yeah, I heard in one of the classes, Krishna is only the Purusha and we are all Prakriti. But because of your minute independence, we think that we are the doers with the illusion that we are doing everything. Everything is going according to our will. So we try to act as Purusha. Actually, we are not Purusha, we are Prakriti. So
very good.
That kicks in.
Yeah, very good. That's very clear. Thank you. I think you made it much.
Can I say something, please?
Yes, you can. Please.
What about karma? So what you get in your life is your karma of your past billions of lives. Yes. Whatever good or bad you get is because of your karma. That's why some people are rich, some people are poor. And the aim of this life should be to get moksha and to go back to Godhead.
Yeah.
So then how does Krishna do everything? Because Krishna is not doing everything. It's your karma. What you do comes back to you. No?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I say something on those actions and who's actually doing?
Is this in reply to what Mother just said?
Yes, also,
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And in addition to what was before, we're not doing anything. We're just sitting in the heart and we're desiring. We don't even move our body. It's demigods who are in charge of moving our limbs, doing the things, and Krishna sanctions everything. So in relation to what's happening is according to our karma, yes, but we only desire. So what we should do is dovetail whatever we desire to surrender it all to Krishna and ultimately stop all desires and clear all the karma.
Well, yeah, or develop spiritual desires.
Spiritual desires, the desires that are in line of Krishna's desires. So we're not really doing anything. We're just desiring. And once we stop desiring for selfish gratification, then we can actually clear karma. Otherwise, we'll just accumulating more.
You just asked that. Did that cover your question, Mother? You can just perhaps say that question again and see if we've covered that for you, or did that answer the question for you?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is what I like to do as well, because like I'm here kind of orchestrating it. But a lot of you have been practicing Krishna consciousness. Some of you for many years. And some of you have got lots of experience, so it's nice you can share your realizations. When you hear questions and you think you may have some insight on it, please feel free to unmute and offer your suggestions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I jump in?
Yes, you can jump in. We have a new saying, jump in. Yeah, jump in.
Yes. I wanted to say that, for example, if I want to put it more practically, I am studying Bhakti Bhagavad.
Just slow down a bit. So you're studying Bhakti Bhagavad, yeah?
Yes, I just started. And even though I might want to think, oh yes, I'm doing all this, I'm memorizing shlokas, I am reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm answering the questions, but it's Krishna who is giving me the intelligence to do this.
Yeah, very good mindset. Yeah, this is called humility. It's by Krishna's grace that he can give me remembrance of a sloka when it comes down to sit in front of your teacher and recite a sloka. You can be learning it all you want, but we always remember that we're dependent on the grace of Krishna. And that pleases Krishna. That like sense of humility pleases Krishna. So therefore, he will empower you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now, in the little commentary here, if we Orijan speaks about, which is something interesting, it comes up a few times in the Gita, about the doer. Okay, who is the doer? This verse is one of several in the Gita that discusses the doer. The word in Sanskrit for doer is karta. Karta hamiti mandite. So karta is mandite, you think, I am the doer. Here, Krishna explains that while the foolish conditioned soul thinks himself the doer, the one accomplishing his work, the work is actually being carried out by the three modes of material nature. Srila Prabhupada, however, refers to an ultimate doer in his purport. So, let's read it. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. Yeah? The modes are under control of Krishna. So Prabhupada brings that out. Yeah? That topic will be discussed again in chapter 4. Okay? Krishna next explains, the next verse will explain the difference between the attached worker and the devotional worker. Yes. Right. Anything else here that we can bring out from this purport, or any other questions? Yes, the more we realize that we are not the doer.
No, I think just one reflection, Prabhu, is
Please,
I think
yes.
just Mataji, one of the Matajis actually just summarized that is, we are just doing the desirer and we are not actually doing anything. And that was just mind blowing for me. So thank you.
Yeah.
I think that was a good explanation, at least for me to realize that we are not doing anything. We are just desiring.
Yeah.
And Krishna is just watching. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Like that can be illustrated further where, you may desire to you may desire to go jogging, but if you have a stroke, you ain't going to go jogging. You understand? We can desire so much, but ultimately we're dependent on this body to do anything, and this body is a combination of the modes of material nature. And we see many people, unfortunately, they have strokes and they can't, they're desiring to do so many things, but that desire has been taken away by we could say, of karma. Yeah. So, yeah.
I felt something after reading. The person in the false ego takes. I said, we all want to be Ishwaras. That's why we came here. So
Yes. We want to be controllers.
I remember that when you say we all always want to be Ishwaras, and we somehow always put forward that mentality, that our attitude.
Yeah, we want to be Ishwara. So now we're trying to be servants. All right, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's have a little peek at the next verse. Any other questions or comments on that? Or we can have let's see, any golden hands up there? Mother Guy, you read. Model Mongol, you read. Anyone else like to read? Text 28. Let me just check the hands. I can't see them.
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. You haven't read yet, have you?
Not yet.
Go ahead. Sorry, Mother Mongol. I thought you had read. So text 28, and we're probably finished here. Yeah, we like to finish on time because I know a lot of you, you timed it to finish at 7. So we like to finish on time. Sometimes we go over, but mainly we finish on time. Anyway, I'll stop speaking. I always will go over. Go ahead. Yeah, please mute, please, devotees, if you're not speaking.
Guna guneshu vartanta iti matvana sa jate. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty Hermit, does not engage himself in the sense and the sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. Purport. The knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his awkward position in the material association. He knows that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. He knows his real identity as part and parcel of the Supreme, who is eternal bliss and knowledge, and he realized that somehow or another he is entrapped in the material conception of life. In his pure state of existence, he is meant to dovetail his activities in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He therefore engaged himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness, and becomes naturally attached to the activities of the material senses, which are all circumstantial and temporary. He knows that this material condition of life is under the supreme control of the Lord. Consequently, he is not disturbed by all kinds of material reactions, which he considers to be the mercy of the Lord. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in three different futures, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is actually Tattvavit, for he knows all his own factual position in relation with the Supreme.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions or comments on this? Let's just go back to the verse. So again, just to remind us, Krishna is explaining the difference between the attached worker and the devotional worker. Prabhupada, quite interestingly, in the purple, he gives quite some details. Yeah. Just looking here. Yeah, and something here from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. What makes the difference between work in devotion and work for fruitive results is simple thing, actually, knowledge. Yeah, knowledge, transcendental knowledge. So the Tattvavit, or the knower of the absolute truth, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, thinks, I am not a guna, a quality or mode of nature, nor any product of a guna, nor do I have any connection with any of the gunas or the products of the gunas. He is, as Srila Prabhupada states, convinced of his awkward position in material association. Okay. Everyone's convinced they're in an awkward position in this material world. It's a material association. Yeah, sometimes it can come off. It can come off in one sense. These type of realizations that one has as one practices Krishna consciousness, one comes to terms with one's existential position in this world. And sometimes it can be a bit, if we could say, unnerving to know we are completely dependent. But that should bring us to take shelter of Krishna. Yeah, that should inspire us to actually take shelter of Krishna. Yeah. So we understand we're not the body, at least theoretically. This is the knowledge we have, but still we're entangled in this world. We have to work in this world. So many things we have to do, so many have the duties we have to perform, but we understand over and above everything, this is all just circumstantial. This body may change, this situation may change. Yeah. So again, the verse, one who is in transcendental knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty Arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work and devotion and work for fruitive results. So he moves in this world with a sense of detachment. So that's what that means, because you have to engage your senses, but with knowledge, one's doing it in a sense of detachment. Yeah. Okay. So let's stop there. It's gone past 7 o'clock. So thank you, everyone. We'll stop there, and thank you for joining us.
Prabhu, I want to ask, I need your help. Can you don't go, please, yet?
Okay, I won't go. Go on, Mother. If those who like to leave, you can. Please.
You can stop the recording, Murli Prabhu.
Oh, is it not related to our discussion?
It's related to everything. It's related to everything, Prabhu. Just, I'm sorry, because I have sleepless night. Shut up. I have sleepless night. I can't find peace in my life now because I had very famous slok and I forgotten it. I need your help. It was from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is about, I can't remember. It's.
I tell you what, Mother, why don't we speak after this? Why don't
Where can I find you? Where can I find you?
you can phone me. I'm right here.
Oh, okay, Paul, I'm calling you. What's up?
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Bye.
Krishna.
Please,
Thank you so
Manmohan
much.
Prabhu,
Thank
please.
And this is
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol,
Hare Krishna.
everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Jai. Hopefully you will come tomorrow. Hari Krishna. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.